This is problem 34 of the Intermediate Algebra Final Exam Preview. The chapter is chapter 4, where we learned about systems of linear equations. And one application of this is in solving word problems. A typical word problem for systems of equations starts out like this. The sum of two numbers is 25. The difference between those same two numbers is 15. Let x represent the larger number and y as the smaller one. Well, the instruction at the end is really just so everybody will get the same answers. But let's start with that top blue equation. The sum of two numbers is 25. If we call one of those numbers x and the other number y, that can be written easily as x plus y equals 25. The second sentence is a little bit harder. The difference between those two numbers is 15. Well, the problem is that when you add x and y together, you can add them in any order. But if you're subtracting them, if you're taking the difference, you need to know which number is larger so that your answer comes out as a positive 15. So if they tell you x represents the larger number, then x minus the smaller y value is going to equal 15. So translating those two English sentences into mathematical sentences is half the problem. Once you get those two equations, what we called in chapter 4 a system of equations, solving them is relatively easy. These are set up nicely to be solved by the method that we called elimination or addition method. What we do is we add those equations together straight down in columns. X plus x is 2x. But positive y plus a negative y, those y values are going to cancel. And so you're eliminating one of your variables, and you're going to have only one variable left. Add the right sides too. And that's the thing that students will tend to forget. They get distracted by this over there, and they forget to add these up. 25 and 15 is 40. So now we've got a single variable equation. Using elimination method, we've gotten rid of one of our variables, and we've got a single variable equation in terms of x. Well, that's going to be real easy to solve. We just divide through by 2 to undo multiplication by 2, and we get x equals 20. But we're not done with the problem, because in fact, the question asks you to solve the system. You're not just solving for x, you're solving for x and y. But luckily, we have equations that we can throw x back into to find y. And so let's erase the original instruction, and let's use the x value in this original equation, x plus y equals 25, to find the y value. So if we know x is 20, we can replace x in that original equation and solve it for y. If x is 20 and y is unknown, we can get y standing alone by subtracting 20 from both sides. We get y equals 25 minus 20, or 5. Now the way we wrote our answers in chapter 4 was as an ordered pair, because remember, we're really talking about linear equations and where those equations intersect. So you could write your answer to this problem as an ordered pair, 20, comma, 5. And that answer represents both of your solutions. Or you could just write them as x equals 20 and y equals 5 and box those. But it's usually better to write it as an ordered pair. When you're done with the problem, your answer should check the original conditions. Do those two numbers added together give you 25? They sure do. Does the larger one, x, minus the smaller one equal 15? Well, 20 minus 5 equals 15. So that's a real easy problem to check once we're done. And if you're taking the final exam, every problem that checks for you is one less you have to worry about later.